Hey everybody, I'm running a little late tonight. Sorry about that. Uh, Welcome back to the Ravens Outpost. And see, we've got Ray in the chat. How you doing? Good to see you. Well, tonight we're going to talk about a few things. I got some stuff to cover. I do actually have some articles pulled up that I want to read from, and you know, like we were talking Wednesday night, we were lied to a lot, and why are we so susceptible to this lie? Why are we always, when I say we, I'm talking about the human race in general, the normal people. And anybody who's tuning into this channel and has stuck around for a while, you're not normal, and that's a good thing. It means you're tuned in. Um, Most other people aren't. So we're going to start off the night. Um, the good old with the good old intro again. Once again, welcome back, everybody. Thanks, Ray, for coming by. Um, One of the things I want to talk about is child disappearances. Okay, and one of the factors that I see that are common is small children. They like to wander off. Um, my sister, when her youngest son, he has autism, and he had it pretty bad. He liked to wander off. It was so bad that they had to put an ankle bracelet on him to track him. It was pretty bad, and he actually did get out of the house and away. He wasn't running away. He was just That's just what he did. He just opened the door and just wandered off, and he was like a mile away from home, and she was freaking out. Hell, I would have been. I would have lost my shit. My kid come up missing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I watch mine like a hawk. Anyway, I mean, kids wander off, and I've got a couple of stories that I've dug around and found that point out similarities and differences, and some will make you shake your head, and other make you go, "Oh, okay, that's possible." So we're going to look at the first one. And this one, see, right here. Tyler found after 3 days lost in the woods. Now, this article is coming out of Australia. Yeah, let me close this out here. There we go. You should be able to get a full view here. Canberra, Australia. A 3-year-old boy wearing a sweatshirt and diapers was found sitting in a creek, cupping water in his hands to drink 3 days after he was lost in rugged Australian woodlands. Three-year-old AJF Elfalak is carried by paramedics into an ambulance after he is found alive on the family property near Putty northwest of Sydney, Australia, Monday, September 6th, 2021. AJ was found sitting in a creek, cupping water in his hands to drink 3 days after he was lost in rugged Australian woodlands. Now, if you read, you heard that he was found alive on the family property. And he was gone for 3 days. Where was he all that time? Okay. Hundreds of people searching for him since he went missing from his family remote rural property north of Sydney late Friday morning. Police say the crew of a helicopter spotted him sitting in shallow water in a creek bed late Monday morning. Okay. Ambulance officers say he is in good condition, but he was taken to hospital for observation. His father described his survival as a miracle. Okay, that's one. Where was he? He was on family property for 3 days. Hundreds of people were out looking for him. Where was he? Now he was autistic. And I'm I'm well aware of how autism works now, and as how I have a child who is autistic. I am fortunate that my child is on the higher functioning level of autism. I have a sister-in-law whose son is not. He is nonverbal, and he just doesn't understand a lot, and it's sad. And I understand how they have quirks. Looking in the chat here, Steve Isdall and Dark Journalist and Dr. Malone today, just talking about the lies. As Dr. Joseph Farrell says, Mr. Globaloni, wordplay on global baloney. I like that, globaloni. Globaloni. I like that. Like that's great. I've seen his shows up. I just haven't had a chance to go back and watch them. I save them. It's sad. It's gotten to where I'll just as soon watch Steve's stuff as watch Wes's show or listen to Wes's show. Not that I have anything against Wes. It's just how it is. Um, I don't know. I really relate to Steve. You know, and being an outdoorsman and all. Um, Now, in the story that I just read, this child just wandered off. He just wandered off. It's crazy. Um, Here's another one. Russian toddler lost in woods for 4 days, vows never again. Bless its little heart. 22-month-old girl found alive after 4 days in a Russian forest has promised never to disappear again. Leuda Kuzina, hopefully I'm pronouncing all this right, wandered off while near her home in Smolensk. Smolensk. There's no Y there. Yeah, this is my second language. I don't know. Region west of Moscow, prompting a search involving hundreds of people. Once again, hundreds of people are involved in a search. And it is my understanding that, grid searches are a basic thing. You know, you spread your people out and they they kind of crisscross in a grid, um, making sure they hit everything. And 4 days, 4 days, you know. So we've got two stories here. She had no food or water and was eventually found covered in insect bites but alive after one of the search parties heard her squeak. She's quite adamant she'll never run away from Mom again, said her mother. Although quite how long she'll remember that promise, I have no idea, but at least she says so. The toddler is being looked after at Smolensk Children's Hospital. Russian TV spoke to mother and daughter in a playground outside the hospital where they were waiting to be discharged. The alarm was raised after Lyuda left the family summer house last Tuesday in the Minsky area. Tiomkinsky area. Yes, indeed, it is 4 days for a child is a very long time. No food, no water. Okay. Um. It says here she'd been playing outside with her 4-year-old sister, but had wandered off into a nearby forest when her mother visited a neighbor, and her sister had followed her. Okay. Once again, this is a second. This is the second one. This child was playing with other children, and this one single child just wandered off, and the other kids were like, "All right, see you later." You know, I understand children, um, wander off, but it seems to be forming a pattern. You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm laying down here? 400 local volunteers and police began searching the area. Divers checked nearby reservoirs but found nothing until almost 4 days into the search. One of the search groups paused for a rest 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles from the house and heard a noise. The volunteers told me they hadn't been far away from the spot on the first day. The mother said it was only on the fourth day when they heard a squeak that they found her in some branches under a tree. Lyuda's story of survival is reminiscent of a 3-year-old boy who survived for 72 hours in a Siberian forest home to wolves and bears in 2016. Saren Dopshut had been carrying a small chocolate bar while Lyuda had no food at all. That's that. I mean, how did she survive? How did a 22-month-old? She was almost 2 years old. Okay, how does a 2-year-old survive for 4 days in the wilderness? And on top of that, how is she not found by 400 people? Found close to home. How does that happen? Okay, we'll probably never know the true story behind all of this. Okay, probably never know. Okay, this right here is the story of that child. See, it's 2016. Tyler survives 3 days alone in remote Siberian woods. 3-year-old boy survived alone for 72 hours in a forest in a remote Russian region of Siberia. Siberia, okay, that alone. When you hear Siberia in Russia, what do you first think of? Cold as shit. Cold. Even in the warmest times, it's colder there. You're going to be in the upper 40s, low 50s, and even then, you know, hypothermia can set in really quick if you're not properly clothed. Aaron Drupchute only had a small chocolate bar in his pocket when he was wandered off into the woods. Once again, he wandered off into the woods. Okay, a huge land air search was launched to find the boy who may have been following a puppy when he vanished. Likely story. The child had been under the care of his great grandmother, local media reported, but he ventured off near the village of Kut, located amidst dense forestry in the Tuva Republic, where when her back was turned. Poor kid. For 72 hours, the child braved plummeting temperatures, the threat of wild animals, and the danger of falling into fast flowing rivers before he was eventually rescued by his uncle. The situation was very dangerous. The river Minas is fast and cold. If a small child fell in, it would be certain death. Isis Saraglar, head of Deval Civil Defense and Emergency Agency, told the Siberian Times there are wolves and bears in the forest. Bears are now fattening for the winter. They can attack anything that moves. Okay, this is that right there, that statement. That statement. I want you to hold on to that for a minute. Bears fattening up for hibernation. Okay. Hold on to that for a minute. In addition, it's warm during the day, but at night, their force gets cold. If we consider that the kid disappeared during the day, was not properly dressed, only shirt and shoes, no coat. A day and night search operation to find the child involved villagers, local policemen, and even a helicopter scouring a vast area of about 120 square kilometers. Another official told media the child was saved after recognizing his uncle's voice calling his name after being hugged. His first question was whether his toy car was okay. Rescuers were quick to praise the toddler's initiative. He found a dry place under a large tree and slept between its roots. The whole village is throwing a party to celebrate his survival. Regional leader Cholban Karaol was quoted as saying, "The boy has now been nicknamed Mowgli." The Siberian Times reported. Mowgli is fictional orphan in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book novel. It is now predicted he will become a rescuer himself. Yeah, sure. Because he has showed incredible stamina for his age by surviving so long alone in the cold woods. Doctors say that Saren suffered no serious injuries from his ordeal. Now, I would appreciate anybody who's watching this to leave a comment, that comment section, and give your comment. Leave your opinion on what is going on here. You've made it this far. Okay. This is Siberia. Cold weather. It's hibernation season for bears. So I don't know. Okay. And now on to our third story. One this is led up to. 3-year-old boy missing in woods kept for 2 days as friendly bear kept him safe. Casey Hathaway from North Carolina hailed a survivor by police after becoming lost in sub-zero temperatures. I like this caption right here. Casey Hathaway told family he hung out with a bear after he went missing near his grandmother's North Carolina home. A 3-year-old boy who survived 2 nights alone in the woods in freezing conditions has told police and family he was helped out by a friendly bear that was with him the whole time. Rescuers responding to reports of a baby crying found Casey Hathaway tangled up in thorny bushes. Cold and soaked but safe on Thursday night. He had gone missing on Tuesday in conditions so bad the subsequent search had to be called off. As it turned out, help, perhaps real, perhaps imaginary, but certainly useful, was at hand in the woods in North Carolina, a state that is home to plenty of black bears. Craven County Sheriff Chip Hughes said Casey did say that he had a friend in the woods that was a bear that was with him. The claim was reportedly repeated by the boy's aunt, Brianna Hathaway. He said he hung out with a bear for 2 days. Hathaway wrote on a Facebook post, God sent him a friend to keep him safe. God is a good God. Miracles do happen. Miracles do happen. This I do believe. I do believe something was sent to protect that child. Once again, if you rescues report sounds of a baby crying, he was found tangled up in thorny bushes. Where was the other boy found? In roots. He was in some type of natural shelter. Strange, huh? And now I know for a fact they're in Russia. They're not afraid to talk about their version of Sasquatch out there. They're not. They're not afraid of it. They'll openly talk about it. But why weren't they talking about it this time? Was it 72 hours is a long time. 4 days is a long time. How did these children survive in these temperatures? That's incredible to me. I don't I don't understand how they did it. Okay. Uh, Brutal weather conditions in the low 20s Fahrenheit, below 0 degrees Celsius, and concerns Casey wasn't dressed for the cold sparked the search that involved helicopters, drones, canine units, and divers, as well as hundreds of volunteers. By Thursday, the wind and rain had become so bad, authorities urged volunteers to stay away. He's a survivor, said Hughes on Friday, pointing out that the rescuers had to wade through waist high water to reach the boy who stands 2 feet 2 inches. Casey escaped with just a few scrapes and simply wanted some water and his mother. Now, I'm not alone in this. I know this is an old story, but I think it's something that needs to be revisited. I think it's evidence. You look at these child disappearances; they all wander away. They're all within the same range, 2 to 4 years old, maybe 4 years old being the most oldest. But the average age is around 2, and they just wander away, wander off into the woods, and are gone for days at a time to be found later safe. I don't understand it. I don't. Where do they go? How did they survive? You're not going to tell me. And I don't know. Kids are resilient. Kids are tough to a to a certain degree, but the elements have the utmost sway, and they will tell you if you're going to live or die. And in those conditions, each one of these children that I brought up tonight not be here with us today. Given the condition this child was in, this Casey, little boy, 2-year-old, cross a river, waist high. How did he get across that river? How did he get across it? Nobody asked these questions. At a certain point, I get it. I do. If my child went up missing and he was found alive several days later, no really, not really worse for wear, other than the fact that all of us were terrified that he was gone, but now grateful that he's back. There's the old saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, all that stuff. You don't ask questions. You just thank the Lord that they're okay and move on with your life, right? That's what normal people do. Um, I got news for you. I'm not normal people. I'm not. I look into these things. I have to. I've been thinking about this a lot, and and I'm trying to figure out why the bear people are misidentifying a bear, calling it something else. They've seen it walk on hind legs. Bears do that. I've seen bear walk on hind legs. I've been to zoos. I've been to circuses. I've seen one. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ray. Absolutely. Oh my God is right. I have all kinds of questions. How the hell did this baby survive? How did these babies survive? Now, nothing, these children didn't talk about all this stuff. The first two. They didn't talk about it. This little boy did. Crazy. The people, and it goes back to Heather and Matt and their family and the trouble they were having. And I, I hate to keep going back to this, but they're a prime example. They're a carbon copy of a lot of typical average people who, one, don't really have an interest in this at all, but who would rather just go on about their lives, be left the hell alone, and pray that whatever was going on has stopped. And just rather not. I mean, personally, it's just me. And if you guys are watching, I hope you don't take offense to this. Matt, I pretty much, from talking to you, spending some time with you, I think we're on the same page here. All that stuff that happened to you guys right there at your house, your kids let to get out there and play, right? I've seen their toys all over the place. They like to get outside and play. But these things, whatever happened, goat and your horse, uh-uh, no way. That is scary as hell. That with all the lights, I'd be scared to let my kids out the house without my supervision. I'd have to be right out there with them, watching them like a hawk. There ain't no way I could let them get out there. No way. So, so I dug around and I found some interesting articles here. I'd like to share. And it all goes to this question: what do you think happened to the 3-year-old boy who went missing in a national forest? And upon being found, the police told the police that a bear took him to a cave, fed him berries, and kept him warm by laying on top of him. Absolutely. Bear, dog, kangaroo, they may like you say, they may lack language, but obviously there's something there. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that. I really do. Um, when I was filming, I was trying to get some of the area. Um, I didn't want to get them too much into it. I knew they like their privacy, but there's parts of a story when it's being filmed. You've got to look at the people. You got to see their expressions, hearing their voice, seeing their expressions. It brings it all together. And when I was interviewing Matt, there was, if you look back at it, there was a time when he and I are out there in the woods, and he's got his back to me and he's talking, he's looking out in the woods. And not only do you hear it in his voice, but when he turns to look at me, you can see it in his face. The utmost concern. Okay, there was an element of fear there. And you could see it. You could hear it. There's no bullshit. There's these people, these people, salt of the earth, good people, have nothing to gain from me coming out there and doing my investigation. Nothing. but maybe to gain some knowledge. Nothing. Okay. So I went out there, did what I had to do. And hopefully their story, if enough people could see it, hopefully their story, yeah, indeed. I wanted to make sure I got that on video. I wanted to make sure I got his body language, you know, facial expressions. You know, there's so much that can be fake, but there's only so much that can be faked. Okay, I mean, it's crazy. At the time of year that Casey went missing was about the same time of year. Um, the little boy they started calling Mowgli disappeared for 72 hours. Rugged terrain, bears, wolves, plummeting temperatures, freezing temperatures. You knew colors in his paint box. You could tell. I mean, he described his his quick leap. You could see where the veil was lifting, where the normalcy of his life was over. The fact that he'd already had these other experiences, right? And he couldn't explain it, but a certain amount of cognitive dissonance runs in all of these people who have these encounters until they can get over it and that veil is lifted and they've they come to the realization, hey, this shit is real. What else could it be? When he said he gave his wife his, he gave his wife, here, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you a few minutes of my time to convince me that this is what you say it is. Then he said, all Heather did was hit him with facts. I mean, pow, facts. Right upside his head, and he couldn't deny it. Oh, well, damn. Yeah, maybe you're right. And then really looking at the situation with the goat, then with the horse, the the brute strength, the incredible strength it would have taken to just haul that creature off. There were no drag marks. I filmed that. We went along the trail. Okay, we went along that trail. There were zero drag marks. There was zero blood. The only blood, and I filmed that, was on the inside of that horse blanket. That was it. Where Heather had found the horse and took the pictures, there was no blood in the body, around the body, nothing. When I first heard about it, I said, that's really interesting. That's really cool. I'd like to see it. But I'm like, nah, well, maybe these people want to be left alone. Then my nephew, he told me they've got kids. I'm like, what? You're kidding me. They have 3 kids. One of the children is autistic. I believe that, and it's just my opinion. The leg, no, there was none of the parts were. There was a part taken away. I mean, it looks like it was eaten away. I don't know. I have to. You have to go back and look at the pictures that I put in the video. I haven't got them readily available right now. I have to get them put in here so I could bring them up real quick. But I don't have time for that right now. I'm sorry. The leg, all 4 quarters were still there. It was right around the hind quarter, around I think it was on the left leg where it looked like it had been eaten, had been taken away around the bone, and no blood, none. And how the hell, like you say, how the hell is a leg gone and no blood? It was cut. Okay, there was a circular hole right here in its neck and cut, incision all the way down, all the way down, split completely open. All of its intestines gone, completely gone. Now, uh, raised around animals, I've done my share of working on a farm. You know, raised pigs. My former sister-in-law raised pigs, and they help slaughter pigs. It's hog killing time. We're gonna get some sausage. You got to do that. It's a mess. Not initially, you know. You do what you got to do, and when you go to dress them out and you hang them up, there's a mess, and it's not easy to clean up. And it takes time. And in the time it took for Heather to get to the house and for Matt to come out there and take a look and see what was going on, it was all cleaned up and gone. Gone. And this happened in broad daylight. It didn't happen at night, it happened in daylight. Bigfoot Anon, what's up? Welcome to the outpost. So yeah, I don't know. So in this question right here, I think it's really interesting what this guy says, and he makes a lot of sense. Go back here. I will agree with Mr. Usnick that it could not have been a bear. I'm less faithful in the idea of it being a mental construct representing the boy's resilience and courage in the face of dire odds. It's pretty, but it doesn't quite explain how a toddler survived exposure, hunger, and dehydration for several days. I have faith in an adult or larger child surviving such extremes, but not a toddler. Their bodies are simply too small, which is true. And this right here just repeats what I said before. To be honest, I believe the child was helped by something that fed him berries, watched over him, kept him safe and warm by laying down with him. It could not have been a bear. A bear would have not been would have been in hibernation by that point. And if it were not, I don't see what possible explanation for a bear awake that late in the season coming up upon a small, defenseless creature as a human toddler and not seeing it as anything more than calories to help it outlast the winter cold. Bears are nothing if not opportunists. So what could have helped the child? I believe it was something that in the eyes of a small child would have looked like a bear, something big, shaggy and brown, colored just like a bear, but with a greater propensity for altruism than a bear, one that has been known to behave in a gentle, almost friendly way towards small children. An older child might have mistaken it for a gorilla, while an adult would have known with no margin for error that it was neither bear nor gorilla, but something unidentified, something dismissed as folklore, spouted by raving conspiracy theorists, something that a 3-year-old would have no knowledge of. After all, no sense wasting the child's time telling him about something that doesn't exist until it does. There we go. I mean, logically possible. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, these stories right here, along with our own experiences, are enough to make us question it all. I don't question that child. I question how anybody can look past and say, "Oh well, it is what it is." And I've heard that come out of several people's mouths. It is what it is, and they're going to go on about their business. I'm like, okay, you know, it's true what they say. Ignorance is bliss. It's absolutely true what they say. Ignorance is bliss. I wish I was still ignorant of the fact. I really do. I wish I was still ignorant of it. So what? I mean, yeah. Could a 3-year-old weighing 30 pounds and dressed in cotton hoodie survive for days in temperatures just above freezing without food or water and with nothing but some briars for shelter? Maybe. But rescuers who found him thought it was a miracle. Similarly, a black bear with a misfortune to awake in the depths of winter, comforting a child rather than consuming him would have been even more of a miracle. But primates have a kindness streak that goes above basic animal instinct. In 1996, a 3-year-old boy fell into a gorilla enclosure in the Brookfield Zoo in Illinois. Benini Jua, a female western lowland gorilla, kept vigil over the unconscious child, even cradling him while her own children clung to her back until rescuers arrived. Maternal instinct of primates is strong, strong enough to cross the species barriers. There's a reason why juvenile cow is a calf, a juvenile bear is a cub, a juvenile bird is a chick, but a juvenile gorilla is a child. Primates can be kind beyond their capacity to be cruel and even beyond their basic instinct to survive, and nowhere is there more evident than with the welfare of a lost, defenseless child. A bear would not comfort a child, but a primate might. particularly one with a child of her own. We'll go back to the article about um, the the Russian child lost for 72 hours in rough, rugged wilderness terrain, chock full of bears and wolves. And as that gentleman stated in the article, had a bear right around hibernation time, just as this boy had awakened from its hibernation to gather sustenance to go back into hibernation, would have devoured that child. It would have been a mess. There would have been pieces, pieces of this child. Not a whole one. Oh, with my throat here. So yeah, how many times have I do believe that Wes has titled one of his episodes that was no damn bear. And that's what this is. I am going to look back here, see if I can find. Um. Oh, okay. There we go. Bear with me just a second. Okay. I'm trying to make this short and sweet. I'll get back to the text that I sent to my buddy. Okay, and this is after I sent him photographs. I don't know if this will come along over. There we go. You make out that any at all? Ah, but that is the hole I was talking about. That was what was missing. Okay, excuse me. You need some. Probably in another hour. 4 hours, around 2 o'clock. Okay. Mm-hmm. My son creeping in here, wondering when I'm going to be done. Try it again. Maybe it's just too much. There it is. I mean, can you see that? That right there, the way it was laying, I know it's hard to see. Not focusing very well. But there was zero blood. I saw where it was dropped. Yeah, Daddy Duty's right. I don't exactly have a studio that I could, set up in and a door to close and a on air sign. I've got a child that runs around willy nilly and acts like a wild Indian. And please, for my Indian friends out there, don't take that the wrong way. But yeah, um, just get back to reading this. Maternal instincts of primates is strong enough to cross barriers. Um, I don't know if you caught that a lot, but I kind of give him the look. There's a there's another um there's another one. I got to post this one too. 3-year-old boy lost in freezing forest for 2 days in North Carolina says a bear kept him safe. Could that be a Bigfoot rather than a bear that this boy remembered? Um, Jeff Cox says actually, if I recall the headlines correctly, it was 3 days. Anyway, anyone who believes that any animal other than a Bigfoot protected and saved that child is delusional. In that area, during that time frame, all bears were hibernating. In those rare cases where it's known that a hibernating bear will, from time to time, go out to briefly eat and drink during their hibernation. They are so ravenously hungry and anxious to get back to their hibernating spot, they would have to they would have gobbled up any small child that they would have encountered. And in no circumstances would a bear in that situation, in single digit wind chills, look after a child for 3 days, then return the kid to a spot where he would be found. Anyone suggesting otherwise is nuts. It's a romantic notion to think of a bear looking after someone for being friendly with a human, but those scenarios are historically under ideal circumstances when food is plentiful and a person or animal wouldn't die simply from being outdoors. No, this particular event was in dreadfully cold situation where any human would die without help or shelter. And aside from him calling people delusional and nuts, I completely agree with the guy, and I don't totally disagree with him calling people delusional or nuts. Oh, I see what you're saying, Ray. I do. Um, it's getting there already. It really is. It's getting there already. Or he's does his own thing, and I miss spending as much time with him. He's 8 years old now. Yeah. The old Darius Rucker song, "It Won't Be This Way for Long." I can't listen to that song. Tears me up. I can't listen to it. I can't do it. One of those songs. Here we go again with these people. What in the world? If you got something to say, phone clipped, say it. Come in my chat on my channel. Well, that nonsense. Anyway, I'm not big enough for moderator. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it tears me up. Um, let's see. But there's another thing about children. They're they're sensitive. They're, hey buddy, Eric, how you doing? Yeah, was it night before last? Or like two or three bots come into my channel. What the hell? And they'll pop down, pump. I've had them put some crazy ass links that I hope nobody ever freaking. I try to get in there and delete them as soon as I can find them if I see them in time. So you know, I understand most people got sense enough not to click on that crap, but you never know. And I hope that I can get it out in time. Yeah, it's that Russian name up here. Van Ernst. What the hell? Yeah, and I'm trying to keep. You say children are very high, pure vibration. Absolutely, because and I'm trying to keep my boy that way. I don't want him to lose that. I don't want him to lose that. I don't want people chucking his head full of nonsense saying this stuff doesn't exist. Because I will quickly get in their face, call them a goddamn liar, and quit filling my child's head full of bullshit. Rick, I'm hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there. How are you doing? Yeah, Ray, I thought I'd done that. Apparently, I'm gonna have to go back and do that. I'm gonna have to set up some security protocols on my channel anyway. You're right, Rick. Children aren't corrupted with knowledge. It's the wrong kind of knowledge. It's the and corrupted is a adequate word to use. Very adequate. It really is indoctrination. Look back, and this is what we were talking about the other night. I think about how far back the corruption goes, the indoctrination goes, and it's literally a death by a thousand cuts. You know, um, where we were able to stand on our own 2 feet as a nation, we're been totally whittled down, and each individual person. I mean, a chain's only as strong as its weakest link, and shit. Right, security. Look, I've looked into it. If you want real good security, I'm talking VPN and all this other, a lot of other blockers. Um, the World War II, at least, or try World War One. Pre World War One is when things started. It, this whole global unification thing started taking root around the turn of the 20th century. I'm going 1898 to 1907, 1911, something like that. Right around the First World War. But I mean, it was the downfall of this country. Been slowly. It's been slow because there's been so much kickback. I mean, we haven't been a tough mule to tame, but you know, they say tough times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make bad times. And I do believe we have a generation of weak men and women out here that are just letting things ride, let things do, let the chips fall where they may. They just throw it up and say, whatever happens is whatever happens. The children are by far um, a legacy. I am going to take a slight break. I will be right back. All right. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I'm back. I have to take care of something off camera there. Yeah. I'll have a cup. But going back to the stories I just covered, that all three stories, children around the same age, is the same scenario, three different continents, but the same story. Roundabout. I wanted to find as much as I could, as remote as I could, to see if I could triangulate and find some type of pattern. And I think I did. I think I did. I'm gonna move on to another subject here. Children and the paranormal. You know, um, there are many times when a child will be looking in a certain area and just fixated on that area. So what are they looking at? What is it? I've got two dogs, three cats, and I believe one of the dogs is um is sensitive. Yes, because he gets all tore out the frame over simple stuff that we just can't really understand. It's gotten really bad here lately, and my son, we try to keep him close to us because he can't be by himself at night. He's told me some stories about things he saw while he's been alone, and I believe him. I do. I don't have any reason not to. I'm not going to be one of those parents to say, "Oh, it's just your imagination going back to bed." No, it's my job to protect my son till he's old enough to protect himself. It's my job to teach my son how to protect himself. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to hide anything from him, especially when it comes to the paranormal. And then you've been, for those of you who are tuning in late after the show, if you've been watching all you paranormal, I mean everything encompasses paranormal. Whether you're having a a ghostly encounter or a cryptid encounter or encounter with unidentified flying out and the beings that pilot said object. It's paranormal. Um, Animals and children, you got to really pay attention. And personally, I'm of the opinion that whoever come up with that saying that children should be seen and not heard needs to be drug out in the street and horsewhipped because you can learn a lot from a child. I'm not saying children are totally innocent. They have they have their ways about them, but there's children and there's a level of innocence. And I try to foster that as much as possible until he gets old enough to where I can pull back a few layers and let him see. I've said a few things and let him know a few things that was just too soon for him to know about. That was my mistake and something I can't really take back. But I don't dwell on it. I don't ever bring it up again, and then just let it be. But it's like in that interpretation that the child who saw a bear is 2 years old. What does this child really know about bears other than what he's seen in books and maybe on cartoons? I mean, you would think Sasquatch was Baloo from the Jungle Book. If you were 2 years old, And a big rascal was taking care of you, keeping you warm out there while you were out there screwing around. And the question also, the children are naturally curious. It's like I was telling you about my nephew when he was small, how he used to wander off. It happens. And for children who aren't autistic, aren't mentally challenged, they're just children and curious. But what did they get curious? Why did they leave several different children they were playing with? Why didn't the other children go with them? I'm seeing what you're saying, Rick. Most people, my parents and grandparents era, aren't comfortable with paranormal. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, mentally paralyzing. The Victorian era, um, you know, the spiritualist movement back in the day, when there was a point in time where it was actually considered normal in certain social circles. Spiritualism, seances, talking to the dead, mediums were okay. Mediums were great. And they were tools and entertainment for the rich, mostly, divination and conjuration, seances and rituals. People were curious about the beyond, what was beyond the veil. So, hey, I guess I guess religious fanatics took care of most of that. I don't know. It's that big change that happened. There was a type of puritist movement after the spiritualist movement, and people are Bible thumping and saying, "Hey, isn't right. Shouldn't be doing this." When Solomon did, the son of David, son of King David, the slayer of Goliath, Solomon, who was uh, noted for his infinite wisdom. He was a player. Read the book. But I digress. Gotten a little off subject. But lies we're told, the whole subject of the show tonight, the lies that we are told, I do not want to pass on to my son. I do not want to pass on to my nieces and nephews. And it's been very refreshing to talk to all of my nieces and nephews, and they are all strongly spiritual individuals in one form or another. And they all believe that there's more to this world than what they've been told to a certain degree. That's why the other night I said I would love to have all four of them on the show together. Hell, I would like to have all of my nieces and nephews on. Have a conversation with them and let you meet them. What a wonderful bunch of kids they are. They've been through a lot of crap in their short while on this earth. And I'm proud of each and every one of them, for what they've been able to overcome and accomplish. And I'm glad to see that they aren't drinking the Kool-Aid. They think for themselves. They think out of the box. My nieces and my nephews, free thinking people who don't let this world's definition of normal influence them. They think for themselves. Reading your chat there, Rick, I believe that. I believe that. There are certain places here in Virginia that have, you know, pushing a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Let's see. You know, psychic children, people, young children who are clairvoyant, who are gifted, the gift of foresight, or being able to gift of remote viewing. A lot of people would scoff at that, but um, there is a movie that I highly recommend. It's a documentary that you watch. I believe it's on Amazon Prime, if you can get it. It's called The Third Eye Spy. Has anybody heard of this movie? The Third Eye Spy, this documentary. Oh, wait. Eric, I didn't know you were so close, man. North Carolina is just a hop, skip, and a jump for me. I'm really surprised at um, how far left um, North Carolina is leaning. I'm really surprised at how far left a lot of these southern states are leaning. Remote viewing's a thing, man. Remote viewing's a thing. It's been scientifically researched and studied. Um, During the Cold War, it wasn't just a space race. Okay, it wasn't just. It was a race for information. That's where our Cold War lied. We were about killing people. We were about gathering information, and we found neat and interesting ways to do it in the way of different people who could actually see in the different places, hundreds, if not thousands, of miles away. Documented proof by our federal government and of the former Soviet Union. They researched it. We researched it. I've known about this for a very, very long time. I don't know how it happened, but a series of books in my high school library. My high school library contained books on parapsychology, the study of the mind, extrasensory perception, telepathy, telekinesis, remote viewing. Um, to a certain extent, I mean, a gentleman that I paid a lot of attention to while I was, you know, researching ghost phenomena, Hans Holzer. Hans Holzer was a parasitologist before he was a ghost hunter. Um, Hans Holzer and Ed and Lorraine Warren are my staples to go to when I'm looking at actual cases. A lot of this new stuff, it's sensationalized a lot. Um, there are a few episodes of these reality shows, these ghost TV shows that I can see a bit of truth in, but most of it's sensationalized bullshit. It's just like finding Bigfoot, the hunt for Bigfoot, and all that other stuff. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, man. And I'm going to call it that. Lies, lies, lies. They give you enough. They give you enough truth. They give you a spoonful of truth to swallow the glass full of lies. Like that old Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins. That song from Mary Poppins said it best. A spoonful of sugar helped the medicine go down. And that medicine that they're feeding us, lies and disinformation. And it all starts from childhood. We're brought into this world. We're brought into this world seeing things a certain way. We have an open view. Our vibration is set. And after so many years of indoctrination, it's narrowed down, and we can't see past this tunnel of shit. Ed Dames and Daz Smith. Yeah. View a remote every time I turn on the television. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of people who aren't viewers. The Secret History of America's Psychic Spies. That's right, right. That's what that's what the movie, that documentary's about. The Third Eye Spy. It's very interesting, very highly informative. Matt Moneytaker? No, I do not. I do not. And it's and it might ruffle a few feathers, but it's hard for me to find any, I don't know, credibility in people who back these people, who give them, I understand giving some of these people a platform to talk, but if they're going to be talked, I'm going to be questioning them. If I were to have them, any of these people on my show, I would put their feet to the fire. You better freaking believe it. And that's why they would never come on a show like this one, because I'd be handing them the hard truth. Mary Poppins, Joe. That's right. Mary Poppins is the shit. She was she was pretty badass. Oh yeah, I really have to recommend the Third Eye Spy. Yeah. Um, Encounters of the Fifth Kind. You should watch that and take it for what it's worth. I mean, there's a lot of helpful, useful information in there. Um, Bobo Fay is full of bullshit. I believe that. Um, I believe also, though, at one time, I believe that maybe he was probably one of the truest members of that group, the truest believer, the truer knower of that group. But, money corrupts, man. If at certain point his revenue off of the reruns of this show, he's getting kickbacks on it every time they air an episode, royalties and all that stuff. I would say that at some point in his contract, he had to sign some type of uh, NDA. I'd say, and he'd rather promote it than not, because hey, more times people air this the networks air the show, people view it, the more kickbacks he and his group get off of it. So, and hysteric goats. Yeah, I mean it was kind of a funny film, but it was an actual study. Once I looked into it, I'm like, be damned, really? Um, well, that's cool. Sellouts, that's right. The truth is hard to come by. Well, may not get to the other subject tonight. I might just save it for another night. But we'll just continue talking about what we're talking about now. The truth. Oh, it got dark really quick. All right, I'll bring this up here, and it's the Google map. Okay, where the boy was around the area where the boy was found. Take a look here at this map right here. This is Arnold, North Carolina. Very, very rural. Very rural indeed. Up here, a bit more. Sutton Farm, right here. I mean, right in here somewhere. I mean, places to get hidden in. So, figured I'd bring that up. Take a good look at that. So there we are. In uh, Ernul, Ernul, North Carolina. Is it anywhere close to you? Do you know? Are you familiar with it at all? Back it out a little bit here. No, actually, I backed it out a lot. I'll give you another look. So there you go. Autocorrect. You know, texting on my phone. Lots of times the autocorrect will get in there and say, "Oh, you meant to say this," and I'm like, "Motherfucker, I did not mean to say that." So I had to, I have to get in there and I have to turn that stuff off. Makes me mad. Texting all kinds of nonsense. I said, "I did not say that. Does that sound like something I would say?" No, autocorrect did that shit. Oh, you said just moved here. That's right. You were out in the Midwest somewhere, weren't you? Before? Where were you at before, bud? Yeah. Autocorrect is a pain in the ass. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Wow. New Mexico. Right up around the four corners. Um, uh, oh, can get a little hairy. A lot of Sasquatch sightings up there. Brenda Harris lives up there. Y'all familiar with Brenda? The godmother of cryptids. Brenda Harris. You don't hear a whole lot out of her anymore. She's kind of laying low. She's not caught up in all the BS. I believe that. My state, right around where I live at. Okay, Roanoke County. I'm not in Roanoke County. I live in Montgomery County, Virginia. Roanoke County is our neighboring county. It's a little north to us. And The biggest part of the county, you could see from last year voting polls, how everything went red last year in Virginia. You can tell Roanoke County is red, but Roanoke City is deep blue. Deep blue. They have taxes on everything there. They're running it in the ground. They're running it in the ground. They have mask mandates in the city. It's awful. Somebody asked me the other day, so I want to go to Roanoke and do something. I said, I ain't lost not a goddamn thing in Roanoke. I ain't going there for nothing. And somebody mentioned me, well, I ought to go to New York, and New York's a beautiful place. I said, well, when their government changes up a little bit, I might. 'Cause, I step over that state line, I'm automatically an outlaw because I'm carrying a pistol on my hip. I will be carrying a pistol on my hip, and in that state, my right to keep and bear arms is not recognized. That state is very unconstitutional, as is very many others. What I would love to see in my state is if they would actually pass the constitutional carry law. It's stupid that you have to take a class. You know, I believe everybody should be informed on firearms. So ignorance of firearms is what makes everybody scared of it. You're afraid of what you don't know. So I grew up around them ever since I can remember. I mean, ever since I come out, I come home from the hospital. There were firearms in the house, and there was no secret. They were left open. I leave mine open. I could put mine on the coffee table. My son walks all around it. Does he touch it? No. I've emptied and cleared my firearm to hand him the pistol to see if he'd hold it. No, okay. He told me, and this is how wise my son can be. He said, Daddy, I'm not ready yet. Think about that for a second. He said, Daddy, I'm not ready yet. My heart grew sizes that day. I was like, that's my boy. I'm so proud. So proud. See, me and my wife both carry. So whenever we go somewhere and we're double gunning, if something happens, one of us is going to be slinging lead down range. If it comes to that, and my wife is a good shot. So we're going to go from uh, paranormal lies to political lies and influx of um, the left moving out of their fucked up states to go into right leaning states are actually working right to bring their baggage and fucked up shit back with them and to fuck up that state too. So, yeah, Texas is getting more purple by the day. And then there's, look at cities like Dallas and Austin. Jesus Christ. I've got a couple of friends who are, oh, classic liberals. They're easy to talk to, and I don't worry too much about that. And they're not all about, and classical liberals now are considered um, right leaning individuals. It's insane. It's how far the left has gone. It's all about constitutional rights. You know, I'm I'm not a I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I never claimed to be a Democrat. Um, and I wouldn't claim to be a Republican either. Um, Democrats are noisy and crazy. Republicans are quiet and soft. Yep, most everybody I know, everybody in my neighborhood, there's a firearm in every house in this neighborhood, and where I live at, um, we look out after one another, but we don't mess with one another. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we respect our boundaries. Um, we keep to ourselves, but if somebody needs help, we're there. Um, and I know, uh, in a heartbeat that if something should happen, all hell would break loose in this neighborhood. Let the wrong individual step foot in this neighborhood, and well, that all she wrote. Frederick County, Maryland. Been through there a bunch. Where my wife's around close to where my wife's from. Hmm. Maybe we could we'll do a political discussion. Hey, I'm open to anything. Normally it's a lot of paranormal going on. That's what I'd like to talk about because usually, like I said, I'm usually up to here with politics and whatnot. But Ray, amen. That's my philosophy day in and day out. I've got it if I need it, but I pray I don't ever have to use it because I've seen what happens to the receiving end. We can talk paranormal. I'm not talking politics. I try not to talk politics, man. I try not to talk politics. But as of right now, this is what's happening. This show usually starts out one way, then after a while, paying attention to what you guys are saying, actually I love it because that means I'm getting interaction, and the show starts taking on a life of its own, and it does its own thing to a certain degree. That's really good. I like that, and I like audience participation, not participation. Matt's children. Yeah. Well, he's got two girls and a boy. They've got two girls and a boy, and I believe the boy is autistic. And I believe that, and it's my personal opinion, that I believe that he is the draw for all of this because of his vibrational frequency. Because of things are different. Um, I got in touch with him right around Thanksgiving. Wished him a happy Thanksgiving. Asked if everything was okay, and they were like, "Yeah, I haven't had anything else happen, but something slapped the house." Like, really? And but like I said, Heather has had paranormal experiences, and I believe she's a medium. I really do, and she just she's one of the people who like I don't want anything to do with this. This is a This is a curse, not a blessing. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Whatever happens, she puts blinders on. She keeps right on walking. If she sees something, she keeps right on walking. She's like, nope, not there, not there. I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. And it has to be so in her face before she'll say, yeah, well, there it is. And I get that. I get that. But I think maybe it's between her and her son. That's the draw. That's been like a beacon to bring all this activity right there to the home. And in the documentary, I asked Matt. Um, ah, yeah, okay, this right here, what he said while I was filming, he talked about it wouldn't him, actually it was his youngest daughter. Said, well, Daddy, there was knocking at the door and we went and then there was nobody there. They kept knocking at the something kept knocking at the door, but there's nobody there. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. Yeah, Eric, I put together a documentary about 3 months ago called Terror on the Parkway. Because they live right off of the Blue Ridge Parkway, run through Virginia. But yeah, while we're standing out there, she talked about that, and they kind of dismissed it. Kind of dismissed it. You got three kids. They're all around the same age. They're all small children. The oldest one's probably 9, 10 maybe, and after a while you get tuned out. you know all you hear blah, 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 blah. All you hear is Charlie Brown's school teacher. Wah 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 wah. Daddy, wah 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 wah. Mommy, wah wah wah. Oh, after a while, it goes like right here, and what you know. But when I heard her say that, I'm like, because I've just got one boy, but I'm my children's was my sister's kids for the longest time, and I love them. I love those kids. I love them to death. They're like my own, you know. And then they would come down and stay with Uncle Lee for a while, We all lived in the same neighborhood for a little while, for a few years. And my nephew, he would come down and hang out with me. And World of Warcraft, my son, my calling my son, God, he was like my son for the longest time. Um, he would come down, he'd jump on my computer after I'd go to work, and he'd hang out in my house. He'd take care of my house. Then my brother would come down when he was younger, and he'd hang out. My nephew would leave, and then he'd get on my computer and he'd play World of Warcraft for a while. And then there's a couple of times I come home, my brother was still there. He'd been there all damn night. Go to sleep on the freaking couch. So yeah. Hey Hayden, come here a second, son. Around here. Keep around here. Say hey. Okay. Don't, son. That's him. He's a booger. But yeah, so there's activity other than that. Did I pointed out at one point, Ray? If you remember this or not, but there's one point in the film where something touched Matt on his head. I mean, pretty hard. He felt like it was something stabbing him in the top of the head, and there wasn't nothing around. And we were looking around. What the hell was that? Did you see that? Well, thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's a mess. Love that boy to death. My God. Yeah, he gets that. He gets that a lot. Um, we'll have random people come up to him in the store and want to touch his hair. It's like, would you stop? There's another bot. No go. Comrade, I need you to get the fuck off my channel. Yeah, later on I'm gonna put a stop to that. Put a stop to it. Yeah. I'm going to try and give StreamYard another try so that I can have guests on. Um, this is OSB I'm using right now, or OBS. OSB. OSB is a plywood. God bless it. This is OBS, uh, uh, streaming platform I'm using. It's pretty good. I like the commies. No commies here. So I like the customization. like going from here to here. And if I want to go to here, back to here, it's pretty seamless. I like it. Pretty cool. I like it. Brent Thomas turned me on to this. I talked to Brent. Um, Brent's I mean, you see Paranormal Portal. Brent is the same yesterday, today, tomorrow. I mean, Brent's just a great guy. Period. Um, I've gotten a lot of help from Carrie Arnold too. I got my ideas for this streaming platform from Brent, and my sound equipment and all that I got from Carrie. So I looked around, and at the time I was kind of on a budget and had to downgrade from what he's got, but I had to find what I, you know, yeah, I'm rubbing elbows with some of the big dogs. Got this little tiny channel, but I know people, and it's good, and they're good people, great people. Oh, and by the way, Mogul Monster, I tuned in the his what WTF um last night, his show, and I wanted to get on, but I was in the middle of something. And I couldn't. So if at any point in time, Mo, if you ever watch this, this is a shout out right now, Mo. I would love to be on your show. Next time you have another one and you open the lines, if I can, I'll jump on and make sure that I'm not preoccupied because I was doing something else and just wanted to tune in and watch the show, right? And the opportunity he invited me to come jump on, and I'm like, oh, damn, I wish I could, but I can't. Damn it. Anyway, um, so yeah, we've got a lot of audience participation right here at the end. That's Ray and Eric. Um, would love to have more people on. Um, oh, it's not far from you, huh? That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, that's where a boy went missing. Around 3 days. Once again, hundreds of people are looking for this child, and they had to have walked right by him if he was in the same spot. Right. Those big dogs don't have my open mind. Yeah. Well, I try not to judge. Um, they're doing some of these people doing what they can, and I'm trying to respect that. Um, they're doing a good job, and they've been a big influence on me. But um, I said this in my first video that I think all of this stuff is connected. Ray, you and I have talked about this a blue million times together. We both agree all of it's together, all of it's connected, and somehow, and I just, I can't think in a linear fashion. I just can't. I can't. All these avenues spider web, and I find that once you start pulling, once you start pulling one thread, and then you got to pull another, and then another, and then another. And where some people might say, well, that doesn't that. Oh no, me personally, do I think they walked by him and didn't see him? Oh hell no, I don't think he was there. I don't think he was anywhere near there. Um, but no, I mean, I some people think that would muddy the waters, but no, it doesn't. It just makes it adds information, building blocks that you need. You look at the Great Pyramids of Giza, and how many building blocks they used to make those giant masterpieces, and that's what I'm considering. And this is my puzzle. This is our puzzle, and we need to gather as much information together as possible to make a clearer picture. We're more informed. Just saying. And Rick, you said I heard Kerry wants to kill a Sasquatch. True or not? I don't know if he wants to kill one. I don't know if he, but he believes that maybe one has to be. And I was kind of this, I was kind of this mindset myself at one point. For the scientific community to actually take this seriously, and this is how I was thinking back then. Right now, I could give two shits about the scientific community. But for the scientific community to take this subject seriously, they would need to have an entire specimen to study, which means an entire body, which means a Sasquatch has to be either captured or killed and brought in to be studied. There. That's it. And there's some people who are of the mindset that they're a Sasquatch Preservation Society. Um, they're wanting to do this to make sure they can preserve the population of Bigfoot. Personally, look, the more because I know what I know now, I feel that's one of the most ignorant and asinine, arrogant statements that ever been made. It's like what they refer to as reverse racism now. Where well, we you poor black folk, we're going to help you out. That type of deal. Some of these people want to give handouts and say, well, you poor you poor Sasquatch, you let us help you out. They don't need no help. Just leave them the fuck alone and let them do what they got to do. Don't quit standing in their way. You want to learn about them? Start acting like decent people. Clear your mind. Get all that hostility out. If you're walking in the woods, let all that stuff go and just go. They'll eventually show themselves to you some way or other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Rick. Went out of self defense. Yeah, that's the only way I'd shoot one. That's the only way I'd shoot one. Is if it was in self defense. If I had no other recourse, I'm not outrunning the guy. And if they show any type of aggression, I mean, I'm going to unload a magazine into them. Plain and simple. I mean, look, I mean, I'm all about self preservation. I'm not out there to kill myself. I'm reading the chat here. When you say who exactly is they? Oh yeah, Rick, I agree with you. The corpse will just disappear just like dozens of times before. That Carrie wants to kill one. I don't think Carrie actually wants to kill one personally. I don't think he wants to kill one, but I don't think he's opposed to it happening. Rick, you say you happen hoping it wasn't true. Um, right. Between Carrie Arnold and Mark Newble and Jeff Townsend, they have a plan. They built the pyramids. Well, you take blocks of stone that have been cut with laser precision, that were quarried and carried from a distance of maybe, know, between 20 and 100 miles. And these stones weighing anywhere between 10 to 20 tons a piece. You going to tell me that these pyramids were built in a 3 year span with slaves dragging these things on the ground using logs as rollers from point A to point B, and then hoisting them up to be placed in a precise manner? It was all done by slaves. I say you're an idiot. I'm taking a I'm taking a couple of lines from this Eric fella that was head up on screen here earlier. You're delusional and an idiot. You know, the show Ancient Aliens was a is a joke to some people, and I guarantee you there's um some bullshit being talked, but a lot of the information is for real because if you go back and you research the source information, it's on point. It's on point with the information, and it makes you go, uh. Once again, one of those lies that we've been told all our lives. You know, lost technology, absolutely, but why did we lose it? Absolutely. Does that make any motherfucking sense? Telling me stupid. You talk with your children with that finger. Nice. I generally don't talk this way. Try not to in front of my kid, but it slips out, and I do ask him for forgiveness. Um, I figure we're all adults here, so if it slips out, don't slip out. Better out than in, my opinion. And you can take that however you want it. Care. But yeah, um, so we're coming up on 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yeah, I still call you Rick, man. I'll always call you Rick. I'm sorry, man. It's just this known you too long that way. And but yep, three biggest lies my childhood. God is dead. There are no such thing as monsters, and government is here to help. Just the absolute freaking facts, man. Nothing but a pile of lies and horseshit. We're all mushrooms, man. We're all mushrooms. You know, kept in the dark and fed a lot of shit. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Cool. I hope so. I've tried Eric. It just didn't stick in, man. He's a Teflon Don right now, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, good God. Ray, that explains everything. That explains everything. You run a daycare and then you owned a bar. That explains everything. It explains everything. Uh, understandable. Yes, indeed. Talk about bookends, man. I think the night's been pretty good. I think we've had a pretty good conversation, don't you think? I think so. We're trying to make sense of things and having people um, who have sense and come together and talk about these things. Um, makes it enjoyable. Ray, you laughing at me? Are you laughing at me? Oh, yeah. Great. Great. Honestly, oh, you're welcome, Rick. Man, y'all are so welcome here. You the OGs of this crowd. You the OGs of this crowd, for real. You're welcome here anytime. Anytime. Matter of fact, y'all don't show up, I'll get a little sad. I'm not lying. It's good talking to you guys. Good talking to you. And I think I'm gonna wrap tonight's show up and give that little end monologue here. Um, the lies that we've been told since we were young are just that, lies, and it's our duty now that we've been brought to light to search for the truth and um, have a certain sense of justice being delivered to, to the people of the world, not just to America. I think there's a certain amount of falsehood that's been fed to everybody. Um, so my my whole reason for creating this channel is to gather people together, have conversations about these things, and to see if we could come to some type of conclusion to put pieces of this puzzle together and share this show with as many people if you can, if you feel like it. Lakota, the Sioux, talking to Sioux, talking to people who kick Custer's ass at the Little Bighorn. Yeah. Yeah. I've known Cherokee and I've known um Navajo people. I have not known anyone of the Lakota tribe, whether they be Sioux or Cheyenne. um, the only ones I've known. I knew a Blackfoot too. Blackfoot and Lakota don't get along too well, and it's crazy even today. Even today, it's like, oh shit, that goes deep. That resentment goes deep. Where the hell does it come from? But anyway, but my idea of making this channel is gather as many people together as we possibly can, put the pieces together to this puzzle, so we can be um, more informed, and that we can share this knowledge with other people. And I like the openness of this platform where we're talking about everything paranormal. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel when I first started. You know, there's so many others out there that tell their stories. They have their people on. They have their interviews, and there's there's a certain point to where it feels like you're spinning your wheels, and I hate that. I like moving forward, exploring different avenues, drawing drawing pieces of the puzzle together. You know, like I said, um, you guys are just talking away. For the rest of you folks out there who are tuning in after the show is over with, who you've stuck along and stuck it out this far, I do appreciate. Um, I noticed my subscriber base goes from 295 to 290 and up and down, up and down, up and down. And I can't get past the 295 mark. Uh, I would love to be able to get enough subscribers to where I have enough people in the chat to where we can actually have a conversation, get a lot of people in here, and have a smorgasbord of banter. I mean, I know small is good, um, to a certain degree. It's like having an AA meeting. Not that I've ever done that, um, but I've known a couple people who have. They say, it's really good having all these people to talk to at the same time. You share your interests and share your stories. Steve Isdall, right now, this is my freaking hero. I mean, 200 plus subs, and I watched his channel grow from 70. When I first started tuning in, it wasn't Bigfoot. I was looking at his hunting videos. His hunting videos are just shit. He's very informative, and I come along him when he was still guiding. That's to tell you how long ago that was. Then he come along with this Bigfoot stuff, and I'm like, what? Get out of here. Well, a man that spends, you know, right, 40 weeks out of the year in the woods, there's 52 weeks in a year. He's going to come on something. He's going to see something. He's going to know something. And, people sit back and say, you've been out in the woods so long. What do you know? what do you know something about Bigfoot, don't you? Don't you? He's like, all right, here we go. And he was kind of reluctant to get that out there. If you watch the first couple of episodes where he started talking about this subject, he's like, yeah, well, now this is what happened. And then it took off. I mean, oh my God, people are flocking to him. It's like thousands of emails. He reads 2 or 3 emails a freaking episode. And some of them are, man, freaking tastic. And there's a couple of them in there that even he has got to say, it sounds like bullshit to me. But he's not denying anybody a platform. I'll let people speak their mind. And that's what I like. He's another he he's the reason why I changed the name from Cryptids, Myths, and Mysteries to the Ravens Outpost. He's the reason why I wanted to start doing these live streams and um, do something more about bringing people together and sharing information of all sorts. Because, what do I say? It's all connected. It should be the damn slogan of this show. It's all connected. And it is. Oh, 40 weeks in the woods. And not, I mean, not all of it was in the woods. He had to come out sometime and get a couple more ignorant asses to go drag back in there. He, how, he's got a ruptured eardrum because somebody almost blew his head off because they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Um, so yeah, there's that. Well, that's a chance you take when you start guiding folk. You people who can't get out and hunt for themselves, they got to pay somebody to take them out there and show them where all the good hunting spots are. But hey, that's a hell of a job, man. Hell of a job. But Matt Squatch, yeah, he got away from all this for a while. He had to take a break from the cryptid stuff for a while. It was getting to him. All the backbiting and all this other stuff. You know, they were talking. Mogollon was. They were talking about this a little. They touched a little bit about this on his show last night, and he was talking about how one of the fellows on there. God, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about how it's just ridiculous at how people are at each other's throats in this field. You know, it, there's so much linear thinking, and everybody's got blinders on. He said you've got the belief camps here and belief camps there, and everybody's thinking in different ways. And if we could all just compare notes, it's just like I say with the cryptid community, and the ghost hunters and the ufologists. All three were to come together. Boom, we would have a lot of answers. I think if we'd all work together instead of trying to divide each other. I mean, it just only makes sense. That's just me. Anyway. Oh, that's most of the fun for me. The hunt is the fun for me. Getting out there, stalking. I only killed because I had to. When I was a kid, I didn't want to get out there and hunt and kill. I did it because I had to. That's how we put meat on the table. We were truly hunter gatherers in my family. Me and my dad. We every spring we planted garden. all through the summer. We raised that garden. And right around the fall, we harvested that garden. And when we harvested our food and vegetables, we got our shit together. We sighted in our rifles, made sure our things was right, and made sure we had enough ammunition. We reloaded our own ammunition. And when I was old enough to tote a gun, I started with squirrels, then went to deer, and then that's all she wrote. Deer, squirrel, turkey, the occasional pheasant, rabbit, but mostly squirrel and deer. Fishing, we fished. Put a lot of food on the table, a lot of food on the freezer too. I had a friend, um, used to come up to the house and used to say it was like taking a trip back in time. I think he said, it's the way you guys lived. I think I was living on Walton's Mountain. I took that as a compliment. I really did. I took that as a compliment because we lived hard. We knew how to be self sufficient. We went to the store to pick up a few things, but we only brought home a few things because we didn't need much else. Potatoes, man. I would let you cut some potatoes. The potatoes wasn't a big thing for me. I didn't mind the potatoes. We would dig them up. We would have them in sacks and bags, and then we'd come down with a truck and load them up on a truck and take them and put them where we need to put them. What killed me? Beans, green beans. I love the shit out of some green beans. But damn if I didn't hate breaking them suckers. I hated breaking beans. All right. It is 2 hours and 33 minutes into the broadcast, and I've got to bring this to an end, ladies and gents. Um, I may look at my calendar here. 2:41 in the morning. God bless. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sunday night, Monday morning. No, maybe, maybe try to go on early Sunday. I may do another show Sunday early. Do an earlier show. Come on about around 9 o'clock. You know what? I think it's a woman thing. I truly do. My my mom didn't mind the beans and peas. My sister didn't mind the beans and peas. I hated it. I hated it. I think it's because I had to sit so damn long. I couldn't when I was a young boy. I hated sitting. I hated sitting so long. Unless I was watching TV, watching a damn cartoon. Then I could sit. Other than that, no. I had to be outside doing something. I will definitely send out a notice. I'll post a notification a few hours before um, I go live, kind of like I did tonight, so that it'd be up. I want to make sure everybody's got a notification. And Sunday night, 9 o'clock. I will be going live and we'll try and pick up where we left off. So, see, that's Ray. That's one thing we didn't do. We didn't raise chickens and beef. We didn't do that. We did not do that. That's where the hunting come in. Um, Deer steak, you know, deer sausage, deer burger, deer. Shucking corn. You know, I didn't mind shucking corn. I didn't mind that. We grew our own tomatoes, we grew our own beans, our own potatoes, um, cucumbers, squash, tomatoes, radishes, onions. Venison, man, we had a freezer chock full of venison, especially when I got old enough to start getting out there and hunting. It wasn't just Daddy bringing home food; it was me. So it was me and him out there in the woods. My mom got stories. She's got a notebook. You said killed a pet black Angus, Inky. I'm sorry about that. My mom has got a notebook she has had for probably 60 years. And it's got the name of every cow that she milked. That's a lot. Rick, Ray, I am calling it a night. I do appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with me again. Thank you so much for um, hanging out with me. Um, good thing. Now. There we go. Keep it there from now. I can move my chat plane panel to this, but hey, I'm going to be on this platform. I'm going to arrange to. I will say this. I'm going to arrange to have a few more guests on, where we could have a lengthier conversation, and just not me on here flapping my gums. Um, I like I like having you guys to bounce ideas off of. I like having you guys around. Thanks so much for coming by. And for those of you who have stuck around to this point, thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, which will be Sunday at 9 o'clock, check for your notification. Till then,